Our last speaker is, due to the program changes, Rudolf Frycek. Dr. Frycek, please come, who is the CEO of a consulting company, research, development, and innovation projects. And he will tell us about the opportunities to contribute, collaborating academia and industry.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First, let me apologize. I'm a little bit delayed, therefore there was this reschedule. The trains in Switzerland are usually precise, like anything in this country. But okay, today, of course, it happens in the least available moment. So I'm really sorry, and thank you to organizers for rescheduling my talk. I'm not sure whether I fit into the big nanomedicine session. However, I could offer one option for the translation. We heard in the last excellent speak that the translation of the great ideas, we need partnerships, and I would like a little bit to continue on this hypothesis. Before I show you the problem statement and the possible resolution, I first start with the short introduction of the company. So we developed this concept with small and medium enterprise based in Czech Republic, east, north of in Czech Republic. It's a biotech company, medium-sized, 250 employees, roughly 19 million sales in the last year. And it's a very research-intensive company. One of 100 employees roughly is based in research, and they claim, Contipro claims that the 2/3 of the European market of hyaluronic acid is actually produced in there and then shipped to the 61 countries. The main production is based on in their competences. This is active pharmaceutical ingredients, cosmetics ingredients. There's a very strong patent portfolio on functionalization of hyaluronic acid, and then they are looking for a specific use of it. And of course, they are having their own forms. And their main markets is the wound healing, is the veterinary products, and also regenerative medicine. The company has very strong vertical integration. So apart from the material production, the commodity, they are also building their own machines for preparing the appropriate forms of the final medical device, for example. And here we can see, for example, electrospan material, which can then finally result in a final medical device. Okay, why do we care? At the universities, there's usually a lot of brilliant ideas, but we have in Europe a problem of translation that into practice. Okay, this is statement. There's very few ideas which are at the end going into the market, and they're actually helping the patients at the end. Where we are very strong is, especially in Europe, are these new ideas where we still lack, and that is the medium size, the early adopters, which are able to react to specific opportunities and then translating it into products. Okay, and then are these products manufactured in Europe? What is the return on investment of public funding in terms of member states, in terms of European Commission funding? And the idea is that actually this is the assumption that the university cannot be the place for commercialization, and because of simply various reasons they are stated here, and that they need to take the companies on board, and even stronger, the company needs to lead this type of operation. And then you heard this morning from Nicola the Enatrans activity, and this is, let's say, a complementary activity to which the Contipro model can offer. We might have a situation that there is an inventor who doesn't want to set up a startup. And very likely, and we've seen this in the past, it could be a clinician or university professor who is interested in translation, but not necessarily in setting up the company and going through all this adventure, all the barriers, which may actually be also slowing down the translation. What if there's a small company which has an IP but wants to fabricate fabless? This is a concept known in the microelectronics. We've seen that especially in the Western European countries, the manufacturing costs are very expensive, and maybe that could be an idea that we outsource the manufacturing. And there could be also a company which has the manufacturing but is simply looking for a partner who is well established in the certain field. In this case, it's regenerative medicine and cosmetics. The cooperation model is therefore between two partners, inventor and the Contipro. This is a little bit illustrating how the flow could be. And as soon as there is a due diligence and agreement, there is a contract drafted, which both parties then need to follow. I will not go very much into details. I would like just to show that in this model, the company can play an investor role with a specific task. So they are not bringing, let's say, money on the table. They are bringing their experience and their in favor or in kind contributions. And of course, it is still expected that the research group will contribute with the necessary research work. Here is just an overview of what are the tasks and what kind of infrastructure is actually needed for a translation. And this, all what you see on the right side, is where you need, if you are facing this translation, this commercialization problem, you need to acquire or you need to simply a partner with somebody. And here again, the partnership with a company may be a very beneficial one. Here I would again outline a little bit the three models which Contipro developed. Out of this model, there are already three products. One is already on the market, second one just received the CE mark, and the third one is just in finalization of the clinical trials. So one model would be with this inventor without a real entrepreneurial spirit, and he or she makes this contract with a medium-sized company, and then it goes complete development chain up to production, up to, of course, approval, and then marketing and sales. There could be a situation which company would like to build their own brand. So there is the whole development cycle and production, and then the inventor, in this case probably that will be a spin-off or startup company, would take the marketing and sales. And then the third model is that there is a company with a GMP, but maybe not necessarily having expertise in the maybe approval, maybe preclinical, maybe clinical trials in the specific field, and then it is taken over, and then inventor continues. What are the benefits? From our perspective, it's an accelerated development, because we are not going to lose the time with maybe too late compliance to certain analytical tests, for example. So all the tests, as soon as it transferred to the company, are done according to all legal obligations. Company has also its interest to put it on the market as soon as possible. So we believe it's an accelerated way. There is a better and more efficient targeting because company is operating on the market. So therefore, it can be also necessary, it can be also available to reschedule or reorient a little bit the development, and that could also result in a cost saving. Overall, cost saving is on the infrastructure cost. If every one of us needs to develop a production line, needs to develop a regulatory department, or develop a sales and marketing, it will be a very costly. There's a minimum risk for university and inventor, because if the agreement fails, the IP is not transferred, it stays with the originator, and there is a non-dilution of equity, which is a very critical step for startups and small companies. In particular, Contipro, as I presented, would be interested in drug delivery systems, electrospinning and related products, also musculoskeletal diseases, surgical materials, tissue engineering, and of course, wound healing and regeneration, where they have a couple of final medical products on the market. I would like to thank you for your attention, but before, I see this as a model for medium-sized companies, also a model for Europe, let's say for further complementary work together with Enatrans. We may probably support this type of accelerated translation for the future. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions, please. Yes.
I think that somebody who's run, what now, 7 startups at different levels. The question you haven't addressed is the question of prioritization and who decides where the rights of who decides what's happening with the invention, because that's always the challenge. You know, your group's priorities may change without any input from the inventors. So how are you going to deal with that? I mean, that's a classic problem, that if a larger company takes an idea and then suddenly your priorities change, you don't have the space in your GMP, whatever, things like that, then you will say, sorry guys, change of management, sorry guys, we're going to drop this project. Yep. How are you going to deal with that? Because then the inventors have lost 5 years maybe on the IP, which then makes the patent much more less valuable. You've only patented in certain areas because that's the priority of Contipro, which are not necessarily those which inhibits the value of the patents going forward for the inventors. So how are you going to deal with those kinds of issues?
Thank you for the very good question. First, I need to say it's a model which is really under development. So we are having the 3 products which went through this type of a product incubator, as we call it, and we are constantly adapting the scheme. At this moment, it's case by case, of course. Maybe for the future, we can think of somehow standardized prescription, which may be dependent on the product on the market. This type of, let's say, risk from the inventor has to be clearly written in the contract, and it has to be a sharing risk between the entrepreneur and the inventor. Obviously, if you already have this great experience of several startups, this model will not be appropriate for you because you have already knowledge, you have already probably strong partners around you who may help you with all this. But again, all is a matter of discussion and contracting, and this is a typical risk which has to be in the contract.
Thank you. Next question.
I thought that in the past 30 or 40 years, everything had already been tried in terms of interfacing pure research and product development. I am not sure I got what is the very specific original element of your model as compared to the usual models we have had so far, and if there is something which had not been tried so far, why? Why wasn't it tried so far?
This is also a very good question because I'm not sure what we are comparing here. I can tell you that I've personally interfaced a lot of public initiatives about incubators. We have made our research, especially in the Czech Republic. There was something like 50 incubators who had the medical device in their portfolio. But of course, there was not appropriate equipment, and certainly there was no experienced personnel who would help you with the later phases of the development. So that is one assumption that, especially in our environment, we need a partner with an expertise. Whether you have in mind other private initiatives we are not aware of, this simply I can't respond.
No, I was just referring to the incubators which have mushroomed over Europe for the past near half century in all possible industries, not specific.
Okay, so particular to this, it's very similar to European projects. You have a different sponsor and different motivation. In this case, you have a sponsor which has the same motivation and really to develop it together. So that's why we believe that the private incubator will be more efficient than a public one.
Well, I think it's time to take the speakers.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.